Real quick, I want to do a fair use. Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah Yahawashi. I want to give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, Rawchaa QaDash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold, Shalom. To your sisters, Ahchyam, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This is your brother Yahawah with the lesson.
If you were worried about the digital IDs that are going out all over the place, worry no longer, because they're saying next year everybody's going to implement this system. It's called the EES, the Entry and Exit System. So it's a digital biometric system that will replace passport stamps. And right now, the EU is rolling it out almost entirely nationwide, October 12th, fully implemented by April next year. So what is this? It will be biodata that is collected from each individual. That will be things like your name, your date of birth, passport info, entry, exit dates, facial image, fingerprints, the whole 9 yards. So if you're worried about Apple having your facial recognition, the government is about to have it pretty soon. So they're saying the system is being gradually rolled out over around 6 months, starting October 12th, and completely implemented by, they believe, April. So the UK has it, the EU has it, and they're saying that everybody is going to adopt this probably by sometime next year. So if you are one of those who are worried about the government having this information and identification, it sounds like everybody's going to have this problem.
2 weeks ago when I told you about the digital IDs coming to UK and how they said, oh, it's just going to be used to track your legal status to make sure you're not an illegal immigrant so you can't work. Well,
in Denmark, a graduate applying for jobs only has to log into a portal once, and their ID automatically links to their school records, saving them retyping their qualifications each time.
it's going to save your password for you. Isn't that great? Isn't that convenient? What they also said during that little speech was that it's going to also be used for applying for jobs, your school records, paying for daycare, collecting all your pay slips, your birth certificates, claiming any benefits, applying for nursery schools, things like that. In a nutshell, your entire life will be connected to it. There won't be a single thing you do in your daily life that won't have a direct connection to your digital ID. That means a permanent permission slip from the government that you have to apply for in every single thing that you do. Centralized organization means centralized failure. Hackers and foreign governments will know everything about you. What are you actually going to get with digital ID? You're going to get data breaches, identity theft, fraud, government overreach, political restriction, privacy violations, freedom loss, resource diversion, trust erosion, social inequality, corporate power at a scale you've never seen before, a surveillance state that makes the current one they have look like a joke, human rights abuses, a social credit system like China, a complete totalitarian state, and a cashless society. Resist this while you can. And that means everybody. This is only going to be overcome with a mass mobilization of people who stand up and say no when the time
digital ID is coming, and what you're going to do about it. The chances are you're probably not going to do anything. You see, how do we actually stop the digital ID? Do you want the bad news? We're not going to be able to stop it. It is going to happen. It doesn't matter what we do as a people. Yeah, a lot of people have said, wow, we'll just call the government's bluff, like I put in one of my videos. But you see, the thing is, the majority of people are not going to call the government's bluff. As soon as they see themselves not being able to work without a digital ID, they're going to get it. Protesting doesn't work. Over 3 million people marched on London with their flags. Do you think the government cares? No, they don't. Petitioning doesn't work. That petition has got millions of signatures on it now. And you know what the government did with it? Keir Starmer took it and he wiped his arse with it. People aren't going to abstain. So the question is, how do you not have a digital ID yourself? And the only way for that to happen is for you to create a life for yourself where you can provide for yourself the things that otherwise you are going to need a digital ID for. So you're going to have to work for yourself. You're going to have to take care of your health for yourself. You're going to have to take care of your money for yourself. And the thing is, do you want the even worse news? Self-sufficiency is a scam. Just like my friend Billy in Wild Minds says, self-sufficiency is a scam. You cannot do this by yourself.
Yeah, so this is Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. It says, and he calleth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, This is the amplified version. Also, he compels, right, through basically starvation. Also, basically pushing it through the entire system, saying you cannot have a job or work unless you receive this digital ID, which eventually is not the mark of the beast, but eventually the charagma will be put in you, right? Because it's going to be, in your phone or whatever. But you can lose your phone. Your phone can get damaged, right? So now we gotta come up with a better system where, that's why they're telling people to put your biometrics. Your eyes are still in your head, right? Your fingerprint is always going to be your fingerprint, and then the the micro C hip will further give that data, right? Who you are, where you've been, birth, date, whatever, and not to mention what, like a GPS system, right? And it's going to compel all small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, right? They're going to tell you if you don't switch your money over, you lose it, right? So you have to switch your money over to this digital system, right? Or you're going to lose it. Free and bond, no, free and slaves, right? Right, because they do have slaves, right? You got the was it what's that place over there where Gaddafi was at, Lebanon, right? Where they still, they're big with slavery, you know, and slaves and trafficking, just human trafficking on every level, whether if it's like actual slave to do labor, no sex trafficking, pedal traffic, all basically they're slaves to be given a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, signifying allegiance to the beast, to this the fourth industrial system, which is the fourth beast, which Daniel spoke of, from which is the revival of the Roman Empire, right? With the one with the deadly wound that was healed, which the toes that's partly strong, partly broken, and you can see it being partly broken because what America, the financial is bad, but the strength is the military. But then you got like Germany, whose military is not strong, but their financial is broken. Then you got England. I think their finance is pretty good, but I believe Germany, their finance was good until this whole thing with the Ukraine, right? And I forgot what else. Who else got a pretty good? I don't know if it's Spain. They got pretty good finance, but then a lot of those other European countries are, financially broken. That's why you had the Brexit, right? Yeah. So basically, it's just a AI overview. It says based on economy fortune cast for 2025, several countries remain financially stable following the United Kingdom's departure from the European Union. Among the most stable economics in Europe are Luxembourg, Ireland, Norway, Switzerland, though Ireland's high GDP is inflated, right? So basically it's weak. So Ireland's not strong. Ireland is actually weak because of the inflation, right? But it must be kind of maintained. Maybe that's why they said it that way. Outside of Europe, other financially stable nations include United Arab in the United States and Australia. Yeah, so this is AI mode, whatever, and it says at least at as of late 2025, several European countries are experiencing financial instability marked by high debt levels, ongoing economic challenges or policies uncertainties. Brexit has contributed to a period of uncertainty and economic strain, right? It's across the okay. Let's see. I just want to get into. So Brexit has basically, it says, so Greece, Italy, France, Belgium, right? That's just to name a few, right? And of course, Ukraine's in the war, but Ukraine's not part of them right now. Turkey is, I think it is part of. It's not part of the UN, but it is part of NATO, right? But this is part of basically the UN, which is Europe, which is basically what Daniel was speaking about. There was some partly strong, partly broken, and that's what's going on right now, right? Yeah, so this is Daniel chapter 2, verse 41, and whereas thus saw the feet and the toes part of the potter's clay and part of iron, right, dealing with the fourth beast, right, in the fourth industrial complex, right now where we're at, right? We're in the end times, the last days, the last of the last days, time that Esau's ruling, right? And this is him returning, right? Because when it was the brass and then the iron, I believe it's the brass was the Greco Empire, then the iron was the Roman Empire, and then the iron with the clay is the revised Roman Empire, which we're dealing with now, right? Which is this fourth industrial, AI, drone, micro C-hip technology, identity, digital ID, right? Because it says part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strong. So I showed you the strong nations, and then the weak nations. I already showed you those. Strong of the iron, for as much as the saw the iron mixed with the clay, mixed with miry clay, which that's the system now. That's the debt, the clay, the abatyat, which is debt, right? Right, because I'll go into that. We'll show you that debt, clay, right? And that's them. These systems, they have that debt, and it says as the toes the feet were part of iron and part clay, right? The debt, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. Okay, yeah. So this is Daniel's 2:42. Transliteration, and yeah. Let's start with iron, right?
Strong's H 6523. Perzel. Perzel.
Perzel, right?
Corresponding.
Corresponding, right? So this is the root word, etymology, corresponding to parazol, right? Or barazol, right? Which is basically iron. Barazol, iron, as material of, what is it?
Furniture.
Furniture, or what?
Utensils.
Utensils, right? To what?
Implements.
Implements, right? Just like a needle, right? A needle is a utensil that implements, right? Puts in the, basically, the charagma into you. Tool, iron, right? Which is to etch, to what do you call it? To chisel, right? An image, right? Giving you the image. Chisel, which is the mark of the, you know what, right? Which is right, basically like the image, chisel, puts it into you with the instrument, right? Harshness, yep. Strength, oppression, right? And that's ultimately what they're gonna do. Push forth this digital ID until they could implement it inside you, and then this implementing it with inside of you, and before it gets inside you, of course, the digital ID. But either way it go, it's going to push forth their strength, their power with oppression, right? Yeah, let's do this. Clay.
Strong's H 2635. Chasef. Chasef.
Clay. They ain't really giving me nothing.
Strong's H 2636. Chasef. Chasef.
Chasef, yeah, scale-like, flake-like, scaled off. Flake off. Okay, yeah. See, yeah, sometimes this thing, because it's really supposed to be like going into the debt, because like I know when you go into Habakkuk, it goes into it being debt when it speaks about the clay, right? Because basically it says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, a taunting proverb against him, and say woe, which means judgment, to him that increaseth that which is not his, right? And that's ultimately how they've been getting this, through oppression, through the iron, through the sword. It says that they shall the Esau should get the fatness of the earth, by the sword, right? By the iron, by the sword, by the gun, right? The modern day sword is the gun. You make it with iron, different, they might mix it with different things, but it's basically iron, right? They even call guns iron. I sling my iron, right? The gun, right? Which is the modern day sword, which is a gun. So it says, yeah, and which is not his, how long? To him that layeth himself with thick clay, right? So when you go into this clay, which I believe it should have been over there too, because I believe this should have been the same clay.
Strong's H 5671. Avtit.
Yeah, because how do you say that? But that's clay. But this aptit is clay too. But it's all, because even if you're saying it's the Assyrian, it's still relatively still has a similar sound. It doesn't be completely off from the actual ancient Hebrew. You know what I mean? So, it may have a different little bit of but it's pretty much very similar. That's completely off. So what it says, a weight, pledge, heavy debt. And that's ultimately what the clay is really meant to set up. Because I showed you those strong nations where their finances is good and those weak nations where their finances is bad. Right? Because it's talking about this fourth beast going into, basically, the rest of the leg, right? Because once you get down into the leg, the feet, it starts getting to clay and iron, right? Especially when you get to the toes, and that's where we're at right now. We're at the toes, right? See if you go into basically for debt, a pledge for a debt, It's basically debt, right? And that's the clay it should have been. Because basically they're going to use this debt crisis, right, as a way of saying, hey, I have a way out for you people. Those who want to be part of the system. Because if they're saying if you don't want to be a part, you can't not buy or sell without the digital ID, which is not the mark. So you could technically still get the digital ID, right? The Lord said use the world but not abuse it. So you can get the digital ID, but once they get to talking about implementing biometrics within your body, bio meaning body or life form, right, into your life form, changing who you are, a metrics meaning what just that, a metric, a measure of something, right? Because that's ultimately what they're gonna say. It's a measurement of what you can buy and what you can't buy. There's a measuring of what you could buy and what you can't buy, and where you could go, where you can't go, right? They're gonna measure it. You know what I mean? They're gonna metric it, right? Which is measured, like in a way of measuring it. What you could do, what you can't do, according to credit scores or whatever, however it is, that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name, and that no one will be able to buy or sell except the one who has the mark, either the name of the beast or the number of his name. So when you go into that, pretty much like I was saying, because going into the iron, right, goes into it being like the charagma, because it talks about, matter of fact, you go into that mark, the word is charagma, going into what etching, right, and a stamp or printed mark, right, stamp on the forehead or the right hand as a badge of the followers of the but the system is Antichrist. So it's not talking about one particular man that's Antichrist. It's talking about you have the badge that says, that's basically what they're saying. If you don't have the digital ID, you're not a citizen. But you can get the digital ID. You just can't put it within your body, in your hand or your forehead. It being in your phone is not in your hand or in your forehead. Though people like to tell you, well, you already have the thing. Yeah, it's in my phone. It's not in my body. It's not violating any laws of the Most High, it being in my phone. I have my debit card in my phone right now. I go up there, I do the tap. That's not violating any laws of the Most High. Once they get to trying to tell you that they have to put it in you, right? Right? The mark branding upon horses, right? See, representing that you're what? Cattle. And if you know anything about the cattle industry, horses and cows had been getting the radio frequency thing, the RFID chip within them to separate and to put dominance of what? Of ownership. Right? 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 A graven mark. Graven work. See? That's what I'm saying. Same thing what it gave you as one of the definitions for iron. Right? Because it has to be an instrument, a tool. Right? An implication. You have to put it in. You have to put the tool. It's like if you were what you call them, graving the image. You have to put the tool to the image, and you have to pop, pop, and hit it into the stone, and then you have to shape it. And which that's what they're telling you that you could do. They're gonna shape you into the right citizen, so to speak. You could be I don't know how they was trying to make it sound like this great thing. See, you're gonna be like a superhero. You're gonna be half man, half machine. This great thing is gonna make it part of you. You're part of the internet of things, the internet of all things. See, it's a great thing, right? No more long lines. You can go in, go out. No more having to wonder if the doctor knows if you're allergic to this, or not even. You don't even have to wait for the doctor to know if you're sick or not. We'll know before you're sick, and then implement the medicine so that you don't even get sick, because we will already know because it's inside your body, right? Because what's the next level? Might as well go, because you got to go a little bit deeper, right? Because that's what the true words. That's what this is. Going into the truth, the root. Etymology of charagma is what? Going into the root. Right? We're going to go a little deeper. Right? You dig it, anything down, you got to go into the roots. Right? You got to know what kind of roots is coming up. You got to know what kind of fruit is coming out of that tree. Right? If you got good roots, it's going to get good ground, and good fruits is going to come from that tree. But if you got a rotten tree, you know that rotten fruit is coming from that ground. And you can see the whole system of this system that they want you to have a badge of honor to, which is basically having to be a digital citizen, right? Which that's pretty much the badge of honor. And the next step is to what? To Karox, right? For Karox to sharpen to a point. So something's going to be sharper to a point. And we just read a graven image. So a sharp point has to be sharp to point it within you, right? It's a hypodermic needle. It's sharp. It's a point. It can go into you because it's talking about a person. Now, it said stone or graven image, but you're not a stone or a graven image. You already have an image, but they're talking about giving you an additional image, something that's going to change who you are, which they were already talking about that. This will change your DNA. That's what they were saying, right? And it says a pale, a stake, right? And you go back into the understanding of like what they did, like vampires. You would sharpen a good stake, make a point at it. You're supposed to put it to their heart, drive it through their heart, and that's supposed to kill a vampire. We know that's all fictitious, whatever, but you're just, giving you an idea of understanding that it's a thing, that's a point, which that's what we're saying. When you want it to being chiseled, right, an image, a graven image, a chisel has to go to the stone, and you chisel it, and you shape it, and then next you're shaping the eye, and then the nose, and then the mouth, and then this is something to be worshipped on back in the day. But we know that they're not doing that right now because everything's going to what? Technology. So it's only evident that it's talking about what this technology. It says a palisade, a rampart, right? Trees and timber are heaped and packed together like a fence, right? So a fence could, depending on how you build it, right? You could build it and put the pointy thing down into the ground, and stick it through and down to the ground and make a fence. Or you could flip it out, leave the pointy part out, and when you're having a battle, someone gets impaled and pricked through or stuck through, right? Through their skin, right? And that's pretty much what it's talking about, right? You get pricked through your skin, and when it's through your skin, right? It's not just talking about children, a regular image, a graven image, right? A stone engraved, because you're not a stone, because this is a warning to people. It's not a warning to a rock. It's a warning to you people. This is a warning. The Lord said, warn them for me. So here we are. We're warning you. And so it says, and so once this thing is graven, or the was it, because in the what's called in Daniel's, it says that it's like a tool, an instrument to implement. So they're going to implement policy, and then they're going to implement, right, the digital ID. Then they have to implement the digital ID. They're going to implement the actual micro CHIP, right, to oppress. So that's ultimately what this is their thing. This is how you know this is the fourth. This is the fourth beast under the fourth industrial, right, movement, right, because everything is digital, right. Also in Daniel it says that knowledge shall increase. So we know we're in that time where knowledge has definitely increased, right. Knowledge is going so fast. What are they on the iPhone 18 or something like that now? It's crazy. You're on the whatever Genesis, whatever it is, whatever the Android thing is, the other phone. They're on all these different things. It's moving so fast. Technology. Even AI in itself. The AI that they give you is minuscule to the AI that they actually have, and even the AI that they have, it's hard for them to keep it because it's constantly, like growing. It's morphing, right? Technology and knowledge right now is vast, way vaster than they're given to. Just kind of why they're puffed up, right? So it's like so this is the next step to after it's you use the tool, and now the tool implemented inside you to give you the image that they want to give you, right? To have that badge, to be a citizen, right? Digitally, and when to only have it digital, that digital has to have information. So that's why it's a grapho, right? Grapho, to write with referring to or from of letters, right? Parchment paper, tablet, right? Yeah. I like this one. See, when it says or other materials, right? When you deal with the micro CHIP, the grain of rice, because it's the size of a grain of rice, and I guess some of them may even be smaller than that, or they maybe have different sizes, but it's gonna have the information on it, your birth certificate, everything that they're saying that it will have in the phone, the phone, right? But you could lose the phone, you could break the phone, you could do all these different things. The next step is inside you, and you can know that this is a hot topic because even the dude who's the Issacharite guy that played on Friday spoke about this on Drink Champs or something like that. One of them. So this is a very hot topic, right? And this is where it's at. This is where everything is going, right? To express in writing characters, right? See, yeah, Khan. They're here. This is my favorite part. This is it. I'm gonna leave it right here because you got to be able to get it on this, because it's not actually talking about taking a chisel and graving an image and then you pray to that. That's been done already. That's happened in the past. They already gave you Cesare Borgia. You have a big graven image of Cesare Borgia in Brazil. That he can't do nothing for the entire world, right? And you ain't walk around with a big old graven. Well, see, I got Cesare Borgia graven in a stone. Let me buy and sell. No, everything's dealing with technology. We don't need you to do that no more, right? No, the information needs to be in you and on you and about you, your eyes, your fingerprint, and ultimately, right, your actual body, Because that way I know exactly where you're at all times. I know everything about you. Right? Right? I know when you're getting sick. I know you got a fever. I know a thought. When you think something crazy about the government, it's gonna pop up. And now you're docked a point. Now you're docked this. This is how you're gonna have nothing and be happy. Because you can't say nothing. So you gotta, how do you feel? Happy. I'm good. I feel happy. Or else you're gonna get docked. There's gonna be things you can't buy, things you can't do. So you're gonna say that you're happy. You may not be, or you will not be happy, but you're gonna have to say you're happy, or you can't buy or sell without this. It says, to commit, this is what writing, things not to be forgotten, right? Who you are as a person altogether, as a character, and who you are as a person, it's not to be forgotten, right? So it says you can't buy or sell without this. Remind yourself this. This is a thing, and it's breaking it down. Now, this thing you can't buy and sell without this, right? They just said you have to have the digital ID. You have to have all these different things in order for you to have a job, in order for you to buy and sell. That's what they're telling you. Written down records, right? So what everything, your dental record, your arrest records, whatever records there is, right? Your doctor's records, right? All your records will be on this small device, micro C-hip, right? Yeah, so this is Luke chapter 2, verse 1. I'm going to read the Amplified version first, and then I'm going to jump over to the KJV. It says, now in those days, a decree went out from the Emperor Caesar Augustus that the habited world, the Roman Empire, should be registered, right? And that's kind of pretty much what this is, right? It's like another way of registering everybody. So this is how you know that this system and your kingdom can't go on any longer, because when you're doing that, you're basically numbering Israel, right? And even King David got jacked up for that. And you're not King David, right? King David is the Lord's dude. Like that's his ace. That's his guy. So yeah. So you're going to be destroyed because you're numbering Israel, right? Should be registered in a census, right? And even today you do census, but this is going to be on a totally different level when you're implementing it and putting things as far as bio into the body, or the living metrics. So you're your own living metrics, right? And not so good, right? You're basically numbering Israel. And so yeah, you're out of here. That's why the Lord said that. That's why I told you that in Job, that in the middle of while you're eating, you should be in straits, right? Because you're counting Israel. I mean, I'm trying to think of like a more, but I mean, there ain't no other way to say it. You're definitely counting Israel, and then you're trying to force the elect to also receive something, and the elect is in obedience of the Most High. And then we're gonna have to cry out, Lord, they trying to make us get down with this thing. They're trying to make us disobey you, Lord. And he's gonna show up, bro. And you're trying to count Israel. So like you're in a lose, man, bro. Yeah. So we have to be happy that Donald J. Trump is doing these things, right? It says, and it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed. So, and that's kind of what this is. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just clay, a batya, it's tax. You're just gonna grossly just take what you want and how you want it, right? It's kind of like a tax, you know? Oh, you did that? Nope, let me take that. You did this, let me take that. And then in the midst of this, you're still getting rich. Even though you're already filthy, you're still getting rich off the people. It's crazy, bro. Right? You have to figure a way you're still going to get rich. You're going to be able to tax people for this and tax them for that and tax what you're already doing that right now. You're trying to build the data centers, and you know Whatchcom said is going to be Elon Musk said they're going to be the size of a city to have the data. Well, that's a lot of energy, and then people are saying that their energy bills are already spiking. So you're basically, that's like another way of taxing. You're using usury, right? A deceitful way of usury. You're taxing people. So, and you know, and in taxing, you got to have a way to do this, because people will rebel, right? People will end up rebelling and say, "Hey, look, I ain't paying that," but you're like, "Nah, you're gonna pay, whether you like it or not," right? Put the right. Matter of fact, where's it at? Right, tax should be taxed, right? And you're gonna see it's the same word for grapho, right?
Strong's G 583. Apargrapho.
Apargrapho. Yeah, see, basically it's grapho. Same thing as grapho, which having that micro C hip, or that what is it called? The grain of rice, which the RFID micro C hip, right? That radio frequency that allow you to pick up all the data, right? Right. So it says to write off, copy, right, from some pattern, right? Right. To what? Look, to enter into a register or records. Going into the exact same thing, right? I think this is it. Same thing as grapho. Yep. That's what we read in grapho.
Strong's G.
Oops, my bad.
Strong's G 1125. Grapho.
Right. Same thing. Right. Things. And then my favorite one says to commit to writing things not to be forgotten, written down records. Right. And that's ultimately what you're doing, right? Public records, and that's what a lot of things you're gonna be doing too, especially when it comes to that social credit score. Because some people think that's what they were. I was looking at a thing on China, and it's only if you took a lot of hits on your social credit score, and everybody can see who you are, so they can treat you like you're just a scum of the earth, because now your social credit score is in the dumps. So anybody could treat you like however, because your social credit score is in the dump, right? And these would be other people who don't have more than you. They just, their credit in this new credit score society and social credit score is higher than yours, but they own nothing, just like you own nothing. And then you got to be, and everybody has to be happy about it, right? But you know that there's a thing where people like these type of things because they can live with it as long as they can seem like they're ruling over other people. That's the same how you trick these Edomites to be mega. Oh, we get to treat the black, and we get to put them down beneath us so we can feel better about ourselves. Yeah, we're with you, but then you ultimately you deceive them and pull the rug off underneath their feet too, right? And they're gonna be in this, right? In this digital slavery, right? It just said rich and poor. They didn't say nothing about middle class, rich and poor, free and bond. They didn't say nothing about, you being, because you're white and you're white supremacist and this and that. You get to know free and bond, rich and poor, free and bond. To receive that mark, you cannot buy or sell. You're basically a prisoner, and they're going to oppress you. Right? So with all that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, Rawchaa, QaDash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and has come back to the fold, Shalom to you sisters, you Ahchyam, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and above all, and Kwam Yasharallah.